They reached the Black Gate. Mordor was silent. Victory was close. Then the mountain cracked open, and 100,000 rose from beneath the ash. Year 1093 of the Third Age. Gondor had not yet faded. Its armies stretched from Pelargir to the northern hills. Its ships rode the Anduin like silver blades. Its towers still gleamed with Númenórean stonecraft, and its kings still believed in final victories. It was in this age that the High Warden of the North, General Alcaron of Calenardhon, was sent to finish what the last alliance had begun: wipe Mordor from the map, not to guard it, not to watch it, to end it. The advance to the Ash Plain. Alcaron's column, left from the rebuilt fortress of Durthang, reclaimed years prior in a bloody siege. From there, they crossed the Sea of Ash, black plains where nothing grew and even birds would not fly. They numbered 12,000, swordsmen of Minas Tirith, armored head to toe, horse archers of Ithilien, swift and deadly engineers and siege masters with towers of polished steel, and Alcaron's personal guard, who carried no banners, only blades. For weeks they marched beneath the shadow of Ephel-Duath, the mountains of shadow. They passed old battlefields, burned bones, and watchfires that had long since gone out. But they heard no horns, saw no scouts. Mordor was silent. The Gate. On the 7th morning, they arrived at Morannon, the Black Gate, vast, ancient, and still scorched by the fires of the War of the Last Alliance. To their shock, it was open, not broken, not burning, just open. Alcaron ordered scouts forward. The gate was undefended. The massive doors creaked in the wind as if awaiting them. "This is no trap," said Lord Hadron, commander of the vanguard. "It's worse than that. It's a challenge." But Alcaron believed it a sign. He believed they had come at the right time. That evil had finally withered. He was wrong. The march into Mordor. They entered in 2 columns, cautious but hopeful. The air was dry, the sky cloudless. Mount Doom loomed far to the south, quiet like a volcano, long dead. Inside the Black Gate was a barren plain, miles wide, choked with slag hills and stone ridges. They called it the Flats of Gorgoroth, where orc armies once marched like rivers of black. Now it was dust. Alcaron ordered a forward camp built beneath a ridge. Siege towers were positioned. Signal flags rose. They were preparing to move deeper toward Barad-dûr's ruins. They had come for the heart, but the heart beat still. The mountain opens. It began at dawn, a low rumble like a stone rolling in a dry cave. Then the ground shook. A slab of the northern ridge collapsed, revealing not rock, but a massive carved gate, blacker than iron, inset with rusted glyphs. The Gate of Duraug Dum, the mouth of the mountain. It was no volcano. It was a fortress beneath the ash, forgotten by all but those who had hidden there for over 1,000 years. Out of it came drums and fire and orcs, tens of thousands. They poured from tunnels hidden beneath the very camp where Gondor's engineers stood. Some rose from vents masked as craters, others from collapsed mines they had mistaken as ruin. Alcaron's men were surrounded before the signal flags could fall. The ambush. The first wave hit like a storm. Orcs with blackened iron blades coated in oils and poisons swarmed the siege lines. They wore no armor, but carried shields carved from bones. Their eyes gleamed red in the firelight. In the center, giants of stone skin, chained and screaming, charged forward. Siege towers fell before they could fire. Horses bolted. The wind carried smoke, and worse, the cries of men dying in the fog. Alcaron mounted and ordered a retreat to the inner ridge, but it was too late. They were cut in half, their rear guard overrun in minutes. He realized the truth. Mordor had never been empty. It had been waiting. The last stand at fire's edge. They held the western edge of the ridge for hours, rallying beneath a broken statue of Elendil. Archers lined the rock, hurling fire down. Dwarves from the Iron Hills, who had marched with Alcaron in rare alliance, held a narrow defile with axes and grit alone. "Let them come in threes or in hundreds," one dwarf spat. "They'll leave as halves." But it wasn't enough. By nightfall, the orcs had brought trolls chained to burning carts, rolling through the center like siege rams. The sky turned red, not with flame, but with ash stirred from below. Alcaron himself was struck by an arrow through the shoulder. Still he stood, hammer in hand. The decision. On the third day, bitter wind rose, the smoke thinned, and for the first time they saw how deep they had been pushed back. They stood not before the gate, but at its threshold again, and the black gate, once open, was now shut. Worse, sealed from the inside. "We are the ones outside the walls now," Alcaron said, "and this land has teeth again." The commanders argued. Some called for a push, others begged for withdrawal. In the end, Alcaron chose to save who he could. They left the wounded in a circle of shields, burned the siege towers, and retreated across the ash plain under cover of the fourth night. The aftermath. Only 3,000 returned. Of the 12 banners, only 4 made it home. Gondor never returned to Mordor again in full force, not until the days of Aragorn. And what they left behind, the craters, the scars, the bones, would one day serve as warning, not memory. And so the black land lived wounded, but breathing still. This was the battle that almost ended Mordor, but almost is not enough.